Perfect. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning.
How are you doing today? Did you have any trouble finding the office?
No, I did not. Thank you so much.
My name's Madison. I'll be your therapist, and I use she, her pronouns. Just wanted to start off and ask how you're feeling today.
I'm feeling pretty okay today. A little tired, beginning of the week and stuff, but I feel okay.
Hmm. You said that you're going to Purdue, correct?
I am, yeah.
How is your classes going this week?
They're okay. It's kind of like it's kind of like midterm season. So I'm a little busy with like studying and everything and papers, and I there are so many papers that I have to write.
Hmm. Do you find yourself feeling a little overwhelmed with them?
Sometimes, yeah, just because, it's kind of that time of year, I guess, where you got to worry about doing everything. And then the more you have to do, the harder it gets to do it.
Mhm. Are you able to take any breaks when you are feeling a little overwhelmed with things?
Sometimes, yeah, if I'm not like working, sometimes I just try and relax, but then that means I don't always get all my homework done, which kind of sucks, but it's okay.
Hmm. I noticed you said that for work, you do a work study program at the university. Could you
I
tell me?
do, yeah.
Yeah, could you tell me a little more about that?
Sure. So I've been doing the same job since my freshman year, and I'm sure you saw, but I'm in my senior year now. And I just work in one of the dorm cafes. It's really
Hmm.
nice. It's just a standard, like, like just a normal job, kind of like a food service thing, but it's not like in the dining hall. It's in like one of the other like cafes, but it's in like a dorm building.
Hmm. It sounds like you really enjoy working there.
I do, yeah. It's kind of fun. I like my coworkers a lot, and it's a nice, change of pace from being in classes all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, a nice little break from just having your head in the studies, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A much needed break.
Hmm. Your coworkers you mentioned, it sounds like you're kind of close to them.
We're not really close, I would say, but it's kind of fun. We're not like close like my other friends, like my roommates or whatever, but they're nice, they're fun, they're distracting.
Hmm. Yeah, it's always good to have a little people in your life that can bring some positivity, some fun.
Yeah, very, very.
Hmm. You mentioned that you've been feeling rather down lately as the reason for coming to therapy. Would you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, so I'm sure you saw in my thing, but I just got out of a long-term relationship.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a little bit hard for me right now. It's a really big adjustment period, and I'm having a really hard time, you know, focusing and getting up and doing things and kind of feeling like my old self, I guess. And I'm kind of just, I don't know, unsure of how to proceed in
Mhm.
my life at this point.
Mhm. Could you tell me a little more about the relationship, the breakup? How long ago were you seeing him?
So, he and I were dating since high school, and so I'm a senior now, so it's like 4 years or something like that. But I had known him, for a while,
Mhm.
and his name was Justin, and we kind of just, drifted apart because we got really, really busy, and we got like, too many, I guess, classes and stuff. And it finally caught up to us this year. And so we stopped seeing each other, and it's been really hard
Mhm.
because I came to Purdue with him because he, had a scholarship and stuff like that. So I just decided to come here. But, that's like fresh. It's been like less than a month. So, you know,
Yeah, 4 years is a very long um, relationship, and I'm sure he was a major support system in your life. And having that end just less than a month ago, um, feeling down and having lack of motivation.
yeah, I already kind of was feeling a little bit down, and as I'm realizing that like starting my senior year and I'm like, oh my gosh, college is almost over, and like that was, really weighing heavy on me. And then this happened. So now I just feel like kind of, what's the point and everything. And I just feel so anxious all the time.
Mm. You said you were feeling anxious about college almost being over, even before you broke up. Could you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, I just feel like, there's a lot like once college is over, you kind of have like a lot that you're like expected to have figured out, but I don't really feel like I have anything figured out yet, and I just don't know, like what's next, and that uncertainty is kind of, you know, overwhelming for me, I guess, especially as, I'm struggling so hard right now in the moment. I can't even picture, being done with things.
Mm. Yeah, having such a large transition coming up in your life, it sounds like. And then on top of that, having the loss of what was probably one of your larger support systems, your boyfriend. Um,
Yeah, he definitely was. And we haven't really talked that much because we thought it would be best. And it's hard because,
mm,
that was somebody I talked to every single day for, 4 years. And then even before
mhm,
that, we were, close friends. Our families, grew up kind of in the same neighborhood. So we, he
mm,
was always somebody that's there. And now that, he's not there, it's like confusing because I'm kind of still trying to, wrap my head around it.
mhm. Yeah, that unfortunately will probably take a while to really process and move through different stages of like getting over a relationship that long, um, especially since high school and then all the way through most of college.
Yeah, and like that too, because like when we graduated, we were gonna live together, and now like obviously we're not together anymore. So I don't know if I'm gonna like stay in the area. I don't know if I'm gonna have to move. I don't know if I'm gonna have to like go back home or whatever. And I just I'm sure my parents wouldn't mind if I came back home, but I don't really want to go back home. I kind of want to stay here, but staying here, it's like, what's the point?
Hmm. So you said that you came to Purdue for him.
Mhm.
And so is that not actually like the program that you wanted to be in? Would you have pursued something else?
No, Purdue was on my list of schools, but like going to college wasn't really that important to me. So I
Mm,
just kind of, I just went along, and it's just a business degree that I, ended up pursuing. And I feel like you can kind of get one of those almost anywhere. So I feel like it's not, that big of a deal. But he was doing some like science, robotics kind of stuff. So he
mm,
wanted to come here for that and the scholarships he had for that. So I said, why not?
mm. Yeah. You mentioned your business program, and I saw in your intake form that you were starting to feel some doubts about that. Could you tell me a little more?
Yeah, so I picked the business track because I wasn't really, sure what I wanted to do, and then I kind of got
Mm,
I did too many, classes with it, and now I'm like too deep into, the major and the degree to feel like I can, do something else, and I feel like I didn't really get to explore, any possible passions or anything in the last 4 years.
mm,
So, how am I supposed to know that this is the right degree for me?
mm. Is there any hobbies that you've explored outside of your business program or anything that like when you say passions, does anything come to mind?
Well, sometimes I just feel like I don't learn as much as I should, in business classes. It's kind of the same information, regurgitated over and over. But, I would like to learn something maybe about history. I always kind of liked history in high school, and then everyone thought, that was dumb. But
Would you ever consider taking a class in history or maybe pursuing that further on the side?
I don't know about on the side because then it's just, something else that I have to do, and there's already just so much to do. But, I feel like maybe like in another world, I could have taken some more gen ed classes and explored my interests, and then maybe my answer would be a little different or something.
Hmm. You mentioned feeling a little overwhelmed if you added on another class. Is that mainly because of both school and your work study, which both take up a lot of time commitment? Is there anything else?
Yeah, well, it's just, like work and school, being a full-time student and going to work, it's kind of really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel so tired all the time. And I feel like adding another class, on top of, I'm already on a pretty strict schedule with how much I have to work and then my classes. And then that doesn't even, the homework that I have to do for those classes. I feel like I barely even have time to sleep and eat,
Mm.
especially right now.
So sleeping and eating you've been having difficulty with. Is that
I
like,
would say I have, yeah. And usually I do when, I feel stressed out, but I think because I've also been like felt, really, really sad, post breakup. I've been sleeping
Mhm.
a lot less and eating a lot less. But I think that that's kind of just normal, while we feel feelings and stuff, maybe. So I didn't really think too much of it.
Do you feel like it's impacting you at all?
I
Sleeping
mean,
less?
sometimes I don't have the energy to get out of bed and even go to work. I kind of skipped work like, you know, more times in this past month than I think I ever have. So kind of it's affecting me, yeah.
You haven't had the energy to go to work. Could you tell me a little more about that? Has that been impacting your program?
Um, Not really. It's not like, it's kind of just like a job that I got through the university, and there are a bunch of other ones. I am worried that maybe I would get fired and I would lose the income that I'm gonna get because I need that income, to have my, house and pay rent and like, groceries and stuff. But I'm sure like, eventually I'll feel fine.
Hmm. Yeah, time is probably the only healer, and coming to see me today is also a huge step, having someone to talk to with how you've been feeling lately.
Yeah, I've never, I've seen a lot of mental health stuff, online and everything, but I've never, gone to therapy myself. So I thought that it would maybe, while I'm feeling like this, it would help to kind of talk through with somebody, I think might be nice.
Hmm. You mentioned that you've lost pleasure in doing everything, most things since your breakup.
Yeah.
Um, could you tell me a little more? Is there anything aside from school and work that you also feel you've lost pleasure in doing? You mentioned you have trouble going out because Purdue um, reminds you of him as well, that you went there.
Yeah. We used to go out like a bunch, a few times a week and everything, but now I haven't really gone out in a couple weeks, maybe like once or twice or whatever. And I just feel like, my social battery is kind of low.
Hmm.
Like I don't really have the energy to, get up, get ready, go put on a happy face, and I'd rather, just lay in bed all day. And that's just
Hmm.
the truth.
Hmm.
And I feel the same way I think about like going to classes and stuff, like, why get up and go when I could just watch the recording after I've been sleeping all day?
Hmm. Yeah, it's easier, it sounds like, especially
Yeah, it's so
working.
much easier.
Hmm. You mentioned a couple roommates that you lived with. Uh,
Yeah, I live with two people. One of my best friends, Alexis, and then her boyfriend. They kind of share their own room, and then I have my own room.
hmm. Could you tell me a little bit more about Alexis and Brady?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So me and Alexis met. She's in my like program and stuff as well, and we're in the same volleyball club. So I saw her in a couple of classes, and then when we were in the same club, we were like, chatted up and stuff, and then we realized we had a lot in common. So we've just been pretty close since then. But like I said, the busier that I've gotten and she's gotten, trying to graduate because she graduates too. So she's trying to like get her internships and everything all lined up and stuff. So it's kind of a relationship that's grown apart a little, but we're still like this past few weeks, she's been really great. And so is Brayden, which is nice.
Hmm. Um, You mentioned that so you've grown apart from her a little bit, mainly because of how busy you both are. Um, However, it still sounds like she might be your main support system. Is that true?
Yeah, I think right now for sure. Like I call my parents every now and then, and I used to
Mm.
call, my boyfriend all the time. But Alexis, she's the next person that I would have called, for any like good news or anything like that. And she's still, she's been super supportive, and so is Brayden, which is nice. It's kind of like my own little group of people right there away from home, which is good.
Hmm. I'm glad that you have those support systems, especially living with you um, during
Yeah, it's
such,
nice.
during such a huge transition time. Super important. Um, and then Brayden, you also feel pretty close to him. How's it living with both Alexis and Brayden?
It was really weird, especially because the only guy that I ever lived with growing up was my dad, because I have two sisters. But it's been really nice because I've kind of like I was there when they first met. I kind of helped set them up. So then, like I
Mhm.
wasn't really close with him, but I was kind of, like her wingman and stuff. And then like they got close and I saw like their relationship like blossom, and it was really nice because he saw like, how close we were, and he was always like supportive of that. And then as stuff started, fall apart with my boyfriend, they were kind of, really, I guess, not like sensitive about it, but like, like understanding, toning down the couple stuff around me and stuff. So that was really nice.
Mhm.
And he also is, always just a call away if I need help. So that's really nice, I think.
Mhm. Sounds like he's also been really a rock for you, which is good to
Yeah,
hear.
they both have. Even, Alexis really likes to cook and stuff, so they go to the grocery store a lot, and they're kind of just like, hey, come with us. And I'm like, no, like I really don't want to. Be like, hey, come on, like we can
Mm.
like something fun that we can all do for like dessert or whatever, get cookies or something. So, they kind of just try and include me, which I feel like is nice, especially when I don't want to do anything. But then, if they keep asking, obviously I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll do it for you guys. So it
Mm.
gets me out of the house, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like they do a good job of lifting you up when you're down and helping motivate you to do some of the things that you might want to, but don't feel the energy for.
Yeah, it's really nice, and I don't want to like rely on them for that, but it's been, like the past few weeks have been really hard, and they've been good at kind of, getting me out of my shell, I guess, like you said, and getting me up and motivated. So I'm hoping, within a few weeks I won't need their help, but you know, who
Mm.
knows?
I'm sure even in a few weeks, if you need their help, they sound like great friends that you could probably reach out to.
Yeah, I bet. I just don't want to like, overburden anybody with my problems because they're mine, they're not anybody else's. So they don't, why would they need to, deal with them and stuff like that?
Mm. Mm. Do you feel like you're a burden at all? Or does that prevent
Sometimes, I mean,
you from reaching out more?
I think so. I think that might be part of the reason why I've never, pursued therapy or anything like that. But also I think it's just like I'm kind of used to dealing with my problems, like on my own. And, when there's something that's going on and I can't deal with it, I kind of just let it fizzle out until, it's not on my mind anymore. So I just think that that's, normal, right? I think a lot of people do that instead of, reaching out and asking for help
Mm.
most of the time.
Mm. Yeah, I think many people have difficulty reaching out for help, and I'm really glad that you decided to come here today.
Thank you. I think I'm glad too. It's hard for me to, make the step, but I feel like once I, get out there and I, do something like set up an appointment, that's kind of the first step to, doing a lot of things better in my life.
Mm.
Really.
Definitely, yeah. The first appointment is probably the hardest step, getting
Yeah.
yourself to walk in the door the first time.
Yeah, and it's a lot of self-reflection and stuff like that. And I don't always like talking about myself and my life, so it's that
Mhm.
part's kind of difficult. But I understand that you kind of you gotta like get a feel for me as a person and stuff. So if you have any questions or anything, just feel free to ask them. I guess anything that would help you do
Mm.
your stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned your family that you call them every now and then, and that with Braden, your families grew up together. Could you tell me a little bit more about your family situation, your parents? Yeah.
Yeah, so my family we're from like Colorado area type vibe.
Mm.
And so like obviously Purdue's a little far, so I don't go home that often except for, long breaks and stuff. So we kind of just call um a lot, but I wanted to kind of go to college a little far away, leave the nest and stuff like that. So like we still sometimes talk, but it's not, like hour-long phone conversations. I just feel like I'm kind of growing up and they're kind of, enjoying having an empty nest and stuff because I was the, youngest of my sisters and I. So
Both your parents are still together, it sounds like.
yeah, yeah, my parents are still together. They've been together for like 20 years or something. They got married like right after I was born or like while my mom was pregnant with me or something like that. Their wedding anniversary was really close to my birthday,
Mm.
somewhere around there.
Mm. Would you say you're close to your parents?
I would say I'm like maybe decently close. I kind of don't really like we were a lot closer when,
Mm.
my sisters left because then I was the only person at home and then I left and then we kind of haven't talked as much. But if I called them with a problem, I know that they would help me. Or if I like was like, hey, like I really need to go home, they'd be like, okay, you know. They're supportive and I know that they would listen if I try to talk, but it's kind of weird opening up to your parents.
Mm. Yeah, it can be difficult to talk to your parents and let them know that you're not doing well sometimes. Yeah.
Because they're like not really like an authority figure. I think that that's the wrong word, but they're kind of like an authority figure.
Mm.
So I don't really want to like let them know like, hey, like, you have one daughter that's, still in university and she doesn't know if she's going to be able to graduate and stuff. So it's, that's a lot for them to deal with.
Mm.
I think that they don't really need to, know all that stuff, I guess.
Mm. Do you think they would worry about you and you don't want them to?
Probably. Yeah. I think the last time I talked to him was like, a couple weeks ago and I didn't like tell them outright that, me and Justin had broken up, but
Mm.
they like kind of like got there and I ended up like having to say it for some reason and they were like, "Oh, like I'm so sorry. Like what happened? Like I thought you guys were going to get married." And that just kind of made me feel worse. So I've been distancing myself a little bit.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
didn't say like what did you do or anything, but it kind of felt like that to me.
Mm. You felt like
So
they accused you of like
not
being
like a
in
not
their
like accused, but they were like, you know, he wouldn't have done anything wrong because like I said, our families grew up together and stuff. So like they knew him and their family and him and his brothers and sisters too. So it's like they kind of have like the perfect family. So you're like, wow, like they thought that I was gonna have that, and they were where did it go wrong? Kind of assuming that like
Mm.
not that it was me, but like that something happened. So then I was like, nothing. We just like grew apart, and they're just like, wow, like I can't believe it, and I'm just like, well, like I don't know what you want me to say.
Mm.
I haven't really talked to them much. They've like texted me every now and then, but
Mm. Yeah, that can make it difficult to continue opening up to them um, when you get that kind of a response when you share with them that you broke up.
yeah, and they've been together for like 20 years, like I said, so it's not like, you know, that they don't really get it, I think, because they're in, their
Mhm.
relationship. So and they're like older now, so they don't really understand like what it's like in like this time and with social media and everything, like this person's ever like was, like our lives were just so intertwined. So then it's like now that it's over, it's like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
and you delete all the pictures and then like people text you and stuff, and it's just like it feels like that's the only thing that's been going on in my life, but I don't want it to be the only thing going on in my life anymore. So I'm just kind of trying to move away and
Mm.
feel better, I guess, which is hard, but
Yeah, especially with social media now, I can see it's quite a bit different from when your parents were dating. And it's like when you get bombarded, as you were saying, with social media, people texting you, it's hard to just be able to shut it off and not have it come up in your mind when you're doing other things.
Yeah, and like a lot of the people that we like, talk to together as a couple, like I'm still friends with, but it's weird, I think now, a little bit weirder just because, you know,
Mm.
like in a friend group, if you have like a breakup and like some people are obviously gonna take one side over another. And so I feel like I've lost some friends and that kind of sucks. And it's part of the reason why I don't really want to go out because even though I have my own friends and my own life, that was
Mm.
we went out, together like every weekend almost. So it's kind of, feels like something that's missing now, I think.
Mm. You shared a friend group, you said, and then you kind of lost that friend group. They sided with him, or?
Kind of. So it's not like anybody like really like sided with him, or it wasn't like a friend group per se. It was like I have like all of my friends, everything. Like he has all of his friends, and like sometimes we would like all go out together. So like,
Mm.
I don't really know if I'd call it a friend group, but like just a lot of association and stuff. And so like some of
Mm.
the friends that I really enjoyed going out with, like some of his friends and some of his friends' girlfriends and stuff, like
Mm.
I feel like I can't really reach out to them and be like, hey, go out, because they're not really my friends. They're, his friends.
Mhm. Yeah, that can be hard when he introduced you to someone and
Right.
yeah.
Right. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Be like, hey, I know, you were his friend first, but I want you to be my friend now. Like, I feel like that's,
Mhm.
weird. And I don't really know why I would put myself out there like that.
Mm. You could try more casually too, texting them, just seeing how they're doing, saying you miss them maybe.
Yeah,
Difficult to
that's
put
true.
yourself out there.
One of them's in one of my classes. Maybe I'll do that and talk
Mm.
about like the homework assignment that we have coming up or something. But most of them are like his friends, his classes, and like I don't even have
Mm.
their number. That's kind of
Okay.
not gonna happen probably.
Hmm. Yeah, the one in your classes messaging her about homework could be a great way so that you don't feel uncomfortable or like you're putting yourself too much out there, but allows her to kind of meet you halfway too if she misses the connection.
Yeah, that's good. That might be a good idea. Sometimes I consider myself a really, like people-y person, but sometimes I do have a hard time putting myself out there, especially right now when I feel so like anxious and defeated all the time and like I'm still in this kind of rut that I find myself in. So I feel like, you know, doing that right now doesn't seem doable, but maybe once I'm feeling a little bit better, that would maybe be nice.
Mhm. Yeah, if that doesn't seem doable right now, there's no time rush for when you'd have to reach out to her. Or,
Yeah, sometimes it does feel like there's just a giant time rush because I'm graduating soon and stuff. So I think time is something that's really on my mind a lot lately as well.
mhm. Yeah, being a senior and then having the transition come up for after college. You mentioned you were feeling nervous about.
Yeah, I am feeling nervous because it's also like I'm not feeling confident in my major, so then I haven't really pursued. And like these aren't new thoughts about my major. I've been feeling this for like over a year, but like now it's just too late to do anything about it. So I kind of have to like if I want to graduate, on time, which I do, I have to just kind of suck it up and deal with it. But I haven't done any internships or anything because I
Mhm.
haven't really, I'm not really passionate about this degree. So I've kind of just been taking the classes and not really doing any of the work. So I don't know. I feel like I don't really know what's next because I don't really know like much about, I guess, the jobs in my degree and stuff like that. So that's a little
Mhm.
overwhelming, I think.
Mhm. Have you tried reaching out to anyone at your school to discuss like difficulties you're having with your major or pursuing things post graduation that might help you explore some different interests of yours?
I've been trying to like make appointments with, like our advising office, but I don't know, if you ever had any similar like appointment issues with this, but like
Mhm.
they're always so overbooked, and because they see like 15 or like like 20, 100 students, something like that a piece and everything. So like I'll go to make an appointment, but they're booked like a month in advance, and then like my appointment time will come around, and like sometimes it'll just get canceled, or it's like brief, like 15 minutes appointments, but I need a little bit more than 15 minutes, I think, to talk to somebody about some of this stuff. So I don't
Mm.
know. I know there are like special people like in like the business school and stuff that I could talk to if I had to, but like I just haven't, taken the step and reached out yet, especially because I've been feeling so down the past few weeks.
Mm. Yeah. 15 minutes is quite a short time when you want to talk to someone about potential life choices.
Yeah, right. I feel like it's just there's just like too much to be said for 15 minutes. And I'm like, why even make the appointment at all? Just feels
Mm.
like there's like no point, I guess.
Mm. It could be beneficial to make the appointment or even go there if you felt like you had the energy to do so and tell them, even, 15 minutes is too short of a time. Is there any way that we could schedule a longer appointment? Maybe email them that.
Yeah, maybe I could do that. I just feel like, it's also like what can be done because it's so
Mhm.
late already, and it's not like I'm gonna change my major or anything, but that doesn't mean that I have to jump right into, work after school. Maybe I like something. So that's, I'm
Hmm.
I'm kind of hesitant to reach out and take the steps because I don't know if, I want to like immediately, hop into work, or if I want to, take a minute, take a break and stuff.
Mm. If you wanted to take a break, would you have the opportunity to do that? Have you thought about that?
It would just be a lot of, like before I get like a real professional job, it would just be like a job like my job now, like maybe at a cafe somewhere, like I could be like a barista or something. And I would just like make do, but I would just not have school anymore, which I think would be nice, a nice break for me.
Mm. Yeah, it could be a nice way to put a pause. Um, or take a pause as well and reflect on, like, if you want to go into business, if maybe it was just the school that you felt overwhelmed by.
Yeah. Well, like how when you go to school and stuff, you have like, you're expected from like right out of high school, college and stuff. So I feel like, like we talked about time earlier, I feel like I have to figure things out like right now. And so like it's hard to think about taking a break or anything because that's not, like what we're told to do and stuff. So it's
Mhm.
like I want to give myself that time, especially because I'm tired right now and
Mhm.
everything. But I could also just like tough it out and just keep going. I
Mhm.
already made it this far. Why not keep
Mhm.
it going?
Yeah, sometimes taking a break, even though society likes to keep us running on a treadmill of sorts, sometimes stepping off the treadmill can be really beneficial, both for mental health and then exploring who you are, what you're passionate about, where you'd like to go next.
Yeah, I feel like that's true, but then also, it's the treadmill is a good example because I feel like I have been on a treadmill, but then, recently, like month or so, like past my breakup, I've been like, I feel like I've stepped off, but I'm still on a treadmill that's just going like a different direction. It's just going like slower, I guess, because it's, it's not like my old routine, but it's my new routine. I wake up, I
Mm.
grab a snack, I lay in bed for hours, I get up like maybe twice.
Mm.
So I feel like I'm kind of
Mm.
on the same repeated cycle, but it's not as good of a cycle, I guess, as it was before.
Mm. And all of this started, the laying in bed, the less motivation to go to your classes, to doing them on Zoom, reaching out to like supports less. That all started when you broke up.
A little bit. I've been kind of feeling the like I don't really want to go to my classes as much, before we broke up, but I think that that might have been part of the reason why we broke up was because I was kind of spending like I was so
Mhm.
busy trying to play catch up with like, my work and stuff that we never really had time for each other. But like he was kind of the same way, so it just ended up not working. But the laying in bed and stuff all day, I think has always been part of it. Cause even though I like,
Mhm.
I wasn't doing my like classes, I was still like getting up, getting ready, going out and doing other stuff if I wasn't, that. So I guess that part's kind of new, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it sounds like you might have been losing a little interest in going to classes. Just maybe because you want to pursue something else. Maybe because you're just worn out after 3 years of doing the same program, and you said it's the same
Yeah.
material over and over. And then at the breakup was when you felt less motivation, just in most areas of your life.
Yeah, I think that that's really true. And it's interesting when you put it like that because I didn't really think of it like I'm tired of doing the same stuff like over and over again for the past 3 years. I kind of thought it was just like, oh, senioritis and all that. But now that you said it and I think about it like that, I think maybe I am really just kind of like burnt out from my program and stuff. And I think
Mm.
that, in college, especially once you're like at the end, that's something a lot of people don't like really talk about. So I guess I didn't really like have the ability to think of it like that. So now I don't really like, I don't know what I should do about like feeling burnt out like that. Do you have any like recommendations or suggestions on what I should do?
If you're able to take some type of a pause, so first, burnt out is super common. Whether you're really passionate about your program or not, a lot of people get burnt out as they get closer to the end because it's hard, especially at
Yeah,
Purdue.
it's really hard. And dealing with it on top of like a breakup and everything, it's really difficult, you know?
And it can be a lot on your plate and it can make you overwhelmed, especially at such a rigorous college. Um,
No
and
kidding.
yeah, so sometimes, like you said, it can feel like you're just trying to keep up and you're always falling behind a little bit, even when you're just trying to keep up, and then you lose interest and it gets harder to stay up with things. Um, yeah, sometimes a pause, like you said, even after graduation, if you're not able to take one before or over breaks, could be really helpful to kind of reflect on, was this just that I was getting tired after 3 years and overwhelmed, or is this because I don't like my program? I don't want to go into business, or maybe you do like business and it's for you, but it's just been a long, yeah, few years.
Yeah, I think, my anxiety that I'm having, over my relationship ending is definitely making the whole situation worse. So I'm having a really hard time like taking apart everything and like looking at them all individually because I'm just kind of like, oh my God, everything's a mess. And that's just like, the only thing that I'm thinking in my head. So that's not a really great way to deal with things, I think. So, you know, I what I'm getting from talking to you is that I should try to, look at everything on its own. And I hadn't really thought about doing it like that before. So thank you.
Mhm. Of course. And also, like emotionally getting through a breakup, especially this one, it takes a toll and it's going to take some time. And prioritizing, like feeling emotionally well, maybe even letting your professors, if you're behind on work, know that you're not doing as well as you'd like to, and you could use a little help. Could be beneficial and maybe let you put on the brakes for school a little bit so that you could focus on yourself a bit.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. I just, like I said before, I just like I have such a hard time reaching out, but maybe you're right and like I could make the first step and like do this and I'm sure like, if you and I have like more appointments together, we can like, broach these topics and stuff more, but like
Mhm.
maybe I just need to, reach out and send the email and just be like, "Hey, like I'm really having a hard time right now. I'm sorry I haven't, joined our class discussions for, like 2 weeks and stuff like that." And
Mhm.
I'm sure hopefully they'll be understanding, but it's always going to be a no unless I ask.
Mm. Yeah, asking is definitely the first step.
Yeah, it's just the asking part that's the hardest part, putting yourself out there, and that kind of like, you know, gives gives way for rejection. And even though, no is the worst they could say, and no is still a no. And right now I feel like a no would just like, my anxious little heart couldn't take it.
Mm, yeah, rejection can be a difficult emotion to deal with. And
Yeah,
I think you
definitely.
said it well, that recognizing that it's not personal if they give you a no. Um, and trying
Yes.
not to take that personally. It's not about you that they gave you that no, even though it can feel like it.
Yeah, I think just getting myself out there, and like trying to contact the right people, and find the right people, I guess, would be, a good place to start for
Mm,
me. But then I'm like, oh, I just don't know if I could handle it right now. But
mm,
I feel like, think of just, like one day at a time, maybe like reach out to one person a day, see if that could maybe be enough for me.
mm,
Or like maybe one person every couple days, if I feel like some days I just can't
mhm,
get it going.
mhm. Yeah, I think little steps are huge, and reaching out to just one person a day, or on a day that you're feeling a little more energy, or a moment you're feeling a little more energy, just taking a little step at a time, knowing that you don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I think is really fueling my anxiety, especially with, college coming to a close, is it feels like a whole lot of, oh my God, I have to take care of everything right now, right at this moment. So it's like,
Mhm,
it's really hard to deal with that. And then like, just feels like a giant weight on my shoulders all the time, every day.
mm,
So, maybe like piece, like taking off, a little bit of weight at a time, kind of just chipping away at it, I guess.
mm. Um, Also, in your intake form, you mentioned like some substances, mainly caffeine and nicotine. Could you tell me a little bit more about your use there? How you think that plays into different aspects of your life, or if it doesn't?
Yeah, sure. So it's mostly just like, I go get my coffee every day. It was part of my routine, We
Mm,
used to meet at a coffee shop too, like every other day, and go get coffee. So that was nice and everything. Um, but I just, I feel like it's normal kind of to rely on those things as a crutch sometimes. And so like I don't think it's like that big of a deal. But I find myself doing it more than I want to, and then I'm like,
mm,
well, I can just stop. And then I'm like, oh, it's just, like it's a habit. So then I'm like, it just feels like it's a habit now at this point.
mm. Both the caffeine and then the breeze. Sounds like you were getting your coffee every day for a while. Um, and it was a nice routine, maybe. And then your breeze, you keep on you quite often as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in my friend group kind of support these kind of behaviors too. But
Mm,
it's not really, I think, like terrible, because they wouldn't sell them if they weren't safe.
mm,
But I definitely think that I do rely on it more than I should. Or it's like stressed out, oh, nice little fruity,
mm,
bit of it or whatever. So then it's just, like it calms my anxiety for a minute, but then I'm like, oh, I need more, and it calms my anxiety more. And I'm sure I could stop if I wanted to, but you know, maybe I couldn't. So then that's like another issue. I'm not sure.
mm. So it sounds like the breeze you're concerned you use to help you get through
Yeah,
situations.
maybe. I don't think it's a problem. I just don't know if I would be able to, like just straight up stop doing it. I don't really think it's that big of a problem, just because, a lot of other people do it.
Mm. Do you feel that it's something that you would want to try letting go, or talk about further and explore more? Or
Yeah, definitely. Probably just because it costs a lot of money, especially if you
okay.
like go through them, a bunch. You are spending, 20 bucks on one or something along those lines. So it's like, I could save that 20 bucks and buy something else for myself or something.
Mm. Yeah, especially when you're using your work study amount. both for
Yeah.
housing already and groceries and a coffee. Sometimes having just an extra like $20, like you said,
Yeah, it's huge.
would be huge. Mhm.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about stuff like that in later sessions. I don't really know like that like that's something else I'm not really sure how to deal with that or approach. So I would definitely need some help there.
Mm. Yeah, would be happy to help you there if that's something you wanted to explore later on down the road. Um, we are starting to come to the closing of our session. We have a few minutes left, and I just wanted to ask if there's anything else you'd like to talk about with me before we close.
No, kind of just like what the I guess like next steps would be then after this, because this is just like the first appointment. So like how would we,
Mhm.
like go about scheduling like a second one if we like schedule a second one? Like do I do that like with you now or like, with like people at like the office desk and stuff like that?
Yeah, we could schedule your next one now, or I can send you an email later if you don't know your availability. And I would love to set up another appointment with you.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be good. I think an email would be good because like with everything going on, I don't want to commit to something and then not be able to,
Hmm.
follow through with it. I'd rather, like I guess leave it and then we'll just play it by ear and see, I guess, like how I feel or whatever, and then I can shoot you an email or something if that works.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send you an email as well after the session. And I can also send you a reminder if that would help you with remembering to schedule or.
Yeah, that's I think that sounds good. I'm just trying to put it in my calendar and stuff so I don't forget and everything because I, with this, depressed and anxious as I've been lately too, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm forgetting a lot. So,
Mhm.
if I don't reach out, then just like reach out to me again and,
Mhm.
you know.
So for future sessions, it sounds like you'd like to explore and talk about mainly your breakup and your anxiety and depression following that.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
some-
definitely.
as someone mainly just to talk to. Is there anything else that you'd like to focus on in future sessions?
Probably just, like stop using like the nicotine and stuff and maybe try and find a way to get me on a schedule, a better schedule. I think that
Mhm.
would be nice, find myself committing back to some old things that I used to, enjoy and be a part of and stuff, I think might be nice.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. We can talk about steps to getting on a better schedule at the next appointment, for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, like talking to me and I hope it wasn't too bad. This is my first time going to therapy and stuff. So I hope that I was able to, give you enough information and stuff for you to, do your thing, I guess.
Yeah, you gave me great information, and it was really nice getting to know you today.
Thank you
And
so much. I really appreciate it a lot.
yeah, I will send you a follow-up email, and I look forward to seeing you sometime next week, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you so much.